armed with knives, armed with chemical, biological, nuclear weapons. Fanatics, terrorists, September 11th. September 11th, killers, September 11th, terrorists. Terrorists of Al-Qaeda, terrorists, nuclear weapons, terrorists. 9/11, terror, terrorist, evil. September 11th, September 11th. The terrorists, war and danger. September 11th, terrorism, global terrorism, terrorism, terrorists. Terrorists, 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 the terror. Terrorists, terrorists, terrorism. September 11th, global terrorism, terrorists. Terrorism. September 11th, world terrorism, terrorism. September 11th, global terrorism. September the 11th, terror. Weapons of mass destruction. September the 11th, terrorists. The evil terrorists, no.
Terrorism. The words are hypnotically repeated. Terrorism, terrorist, terrorist threat, and of course, believed to be linked to Al-Qaeda. But it's the so-called war on terrorism that's in our faces practically 24/7 as the inescapable focus of our existence.
One day, our grandchildren will look back on this time and ask, how was the war on terror won?
The entire U.S. ruling class, ruling elite, comes to see terrorism as the preferred means, indeed the only means, to provide social cohesion, to provide an enemy image for the society to keep it together. According to neocon theory from Carl Schmitt, you have to have an enemy image in order to have a society. It's a very dangerous thing because now it means that the entire social order, the political parties, intellectual life, politics in general, all based on a monstrous myth. Monstrous myth.
You compare that to what's going on right now, a little bit?
Right now they can legally do that exact same thing to you with the laws that have been passed, and especially in Charlotte, North Carolina, when we're from, they just passed that. They can.
So I have a question. Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm a little confused. Okay, maybe the viewers listening right now, watching right now. So you're telling me that you're not talking about old Nazi Germany. You're talking about where again?
Charlotte, North Carolina, present day 2012. We have this law, same law that they started out with before the Holocaust happened. Germany.
Okay. All right. I just want to clarify that. Thank you. What does that first paragraph say?
The Nazis used propaganda along with terror to manipulate the German population. In the hands of Hitler's Minister for Public Enlightenment and Propaganda, Joseph Goebbels, Nazi propaganda was simplistic, emotional, repetitive, and uncompromising. Sounds a lot like the propaganda we have going on today, doesn't it?
Yeah. They use terror to get the masses behind them. Go ahead.
Nazi propaganda drew its power from the government's absolute control over the flow of information. All news media were censored by Joseph propaganda ministry. Freedom of speech was ruthlessly suppressed. Beginning on September 1st, 1939, Germans who listened to uncensored information on foreign radio broadcasts were severe punishment.
Kind of sounds like
the NDAA.
The NDAA
that just went
sounds
through.
just like that.
Sounds exactly like it.
So in other words, what happened back then is happening right now?
As far as the laws being put in place, yes. The only thing we're missing is a mass genocide.
So we got NDAA, we got ACTA, we got NAFTA, we got
SOPA,
ESM, SOPA.
ESM, all of these laws that are going into place to restrict our rights as humans.
And it took 10 years for this propaganda to actually go into effect until World War II. And you had people in concentration camps. And ever since 9/11, the same patterns have been happening in the United States, correct?
Yeah, I would completely agree. Well, for instance, the NDAA was passed, the end of 2011, right?
Yeah, on New Year's Eve.
It goes into effect March 3rd.
That's correct.
Of 2012.
So we have to get this message out.
It's awful quick time.
All right, thank you.
September 11th was the jumpstart for what is now an accelerated agenda by the ruthless elite. It was a staged war pretext no different than the sinking of the Lusitania, the provoking of Pearl Harbor, and the Gulf of Tonkin lie. In fact, if 9/11 wasn't a planned war pretext, it would be an exception to the rule. It has been used to launch two unprovoked illegal wars, one against Iraq and one against Afghanistan. However, 9/11 was a pretext for another war as well, the war against you. the Patriot Act, Homeland Security, the Military Tribunals Act, and other legislations are all completely and entirely designed to destroy your civil liberties and limit your ability to fight back against what is coming. Currently in the United States, unannounced to most brainwashed Americans, your home can be searched without a warrant, without you being home. You can in turn be arrested with no charges revealed to you, detained indefinitely with no access to a lawyer, and legally tortured, all under the suspicion that you might be a terrorist. If you need a painted picture of what is happening in this country, let's recognize how history repeats itself. In February 1933, Hitler staged a false flag attack, burning down his own German parliament building, the Reichstag, and blamed it on communist terrorists. In the next few weeks, he passed the Enabling Act, which completely eradicated the German Constitution, destroying people's liberties. He then led a series of preemptive wars, all justified to the German people as necessary to maintaining homeland security.
Our enemy is a radical network of terrorists and every government that supports them.
It's time to wake up. The people in power go out of their way to make sure that you are perpetually misled and manipulated. The majority's perception of reality, especially in the political arena, is not their own. It is shrewdly imposed upon them without them even knowing it. For example, the public at large actually believes the invasion of Iraq is going badly, as sectarian violence doesn't seem to stop. What the public fails to see is that the destabilization of Iraq is exactly what the people behind the government want. This war is to be sustained so the region can be divided up, domination of the oil maintained, continual profits reaped for the defense contractors, and most importantly, permanent military bases established to be used as a launching pad against other oil-bearing, non-conforming countries such as Iran and Syria. For further implication that the civil war and destabilization is purely intentional, in 2005, 2 elite British SAS officers were arrested by Iraqi police after being caught driving around in their car shooting at civilians while dressed up as Arabs. After being arrested and taken to a jail in Basra, the British Army immediately requested the release of these men. When the Basra government refused, British tanks came in and physically broke out the men from the Basra prison.
Shopping and dining over Thanksgiving and maybe watching some football games. Big government Republicans and Democrats were busy shredding the last vestiges of the Constitution. They're talking about inserting the Army into domestic law enforcement. Senator Lindsey Graham, who supports this bill, says, quote, "The homeland is part of the battlefield, and people can be held without trial, whether an American citizen or not."
I, Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
The original Constitution, I think it is an imperfect document, and I think it is a document that reflects some deep flaws in American culture, the colonial culture nascent at that time. I think we can say that the Constitution reflected an enormous blind spot in this culture, and that the framers had that same blind spot. It also reflected the fundamental flaw of this country that continues to this day.
The Senate will pass tomorrow a bill allowing the American military to imprison American citizens indefinitely without charge or trial.
Congress is essentially authorizing the indefinite imprisonment of American citizens without charge or trial.
I think that
denigrates the very foundation of this country. It denigrates the Bill of Rights. It denigrates what our founders intended.
How bad is this?
It's quite frankly absurd, Keith. I mean, here we are 10 years after 9/11, in the wake of the demise of Osama bin Laden, the only leader that al-Qaeda has ever known. And we're passing a provision that would codify the indefinite detention without trial of suspected enemies of the state. And that includes, as you mentioned, American citizens apprehended here on U.S. soil. We have not codified indefinite detention without trial since the McCarthy era. That's how extreme this is. And the most amazing thing is that it's not necessary.
Charles Dyer. I'm an oath keeper. I'm with the 1st Light Armored Reconnaissance Battalion out of Camp Pendleton, California. I absolutely could not, I can't imagine that we're living in the times where I have to worry about having to confiscate the weapons from the American people. Is that freedom? It's absolutely not freedom. That I have to worry that we're going to quarantine a city for the purposes of keeping them in their hostage, like Katrina? Absolutely not. That's not freedom in any way that you can think of it. I'm almost speechless whenever I try to talk about this because I can't imagine that we're living in this kind of time. It really bothers me. Absolutely.
I saw a tremendous pattern of the growth of the infrastructure of a totalitarian state in the last 8 years, post 9/11. I mean, it's been going on for decades. We've seen for decades encroachments on our liberties, and then a crisis would come along, and then all of a sudden they had a chance to get their policies passed they've been wanting to pass for a long time.
Anybody. They're debating the new military policy bill right now after the House passed it. One of the more controversial topics is about fusing the U.S. and Israeli military when it comes to co-production on things. Do you have any sovereignty concerns about that? If there are situations where the United States wants to send weapons, Iron Dome came up with Ukraine when the Israelis...
You asking about NDAA?
Warfare.
Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, has taken credit for the legislation that was put into the National Defense Authorization Act of 2027. He basically said, yeah, this is what I want. Well, he wants it because he'll have the ability to direct the U.S. military. I mean, it's mind-boggling when you think about it. And this particular proposal, by the way it's structured, and you know, when I first heard about it, I said, I have to read the legislation, because let me tell you, folks who are watching, you have to read the legislation in order to understand its workings. And the way this is written, it puts the Department of Defense in the driver's seat over other federal departments, including state. And then this policy has, it runs through the whole government. I mean, this really, you could almost say this is a takeover. And you know, for some it'll sound hysterical, but the truth is that it is laying the groundwork for an entanglement that has never happened in the history of the United States. This is totally unprecedented.
Now, this new development comes at a time when Israel and U.S. military ties have already reached its highest point due to the Iran war and the West Asia conflict.
On this vote, the yeas are 216, the nays are 212. The bill is passed. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
Out national parks, visiting, it's the last hurrah of summer, and quietly buried inside this enormous bill is Section 219, which, well, I'll give you the floor on what is about to happen in Washington.
Well, first of all, the NDAA stands for the National Defense Authorization Act. And it's one of the few bills that passes every year. I've been here 14 years. There have been 14 NDAAs. So you can set your clock on the fact that this bill will pass. So anything that gets in it is dangerous as a cocked gun.
These people are completely clueless about what's happening in the Middle East the last, I don't know, 50 to 100 years. So they officially merged the U.S. military with the Israeli military. And for those of you that can't see the writing on the wall, in my opinion, there's only one reason why they would push so hard for this to happen. See, they're fully aware that the U.S. service members won't take to the streets and start slaughtering their own people. But when you merge two militaries together, it's quite easy to just fly the IDF over here to the U.S. streets and do just about anything and kill just about anyone that the U.S. government wants unalived. And if you think that they're going to release the weapons out of the armory in the U.S. military bases and tell these people that they can go defend their country against the IDF, who happens to be slaughtering those service members, family members, you've got another thing coming. These people have the keys to the bombs and the guns and the ammo and the equipment that would be used by U.S. service members to defend the American people against the IDF here on home turf. And if you don't think that the IDF is bloodthirsty and would love nothing more than to kill Americans, you don't know anything about what's going on in the world around you. And I think that's part of the reason why we got here, is because so many people just believe that our greatest ally really does love Americans and Christians and all these other things, but these people are completely clueless about what's happening in the Middle East.
Starting at 14, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. If you don't know what that means, it's the second woe. So there was a first woe, and then there's a second woe that is past. This is that vision. And if you don't know, that woe stands for war. The second woe, that was the Second World War. Then the third woe cometh quickly, and this is where we're at now. And if you've been watching, if you watched all the way through to here, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, but most of all, share this information. And this is going to get into where we're at as far as the nations. So let me go down. See right here, the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, in the time of the dead, that they should be judged. And that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants, the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. All right, so I want to go back up here. All right, let's go to, because I don't want to get too much into this verse. I'm trying to keep us on track. So right here in Revelation 2, and I gave her space to repent of her fornication, and she repented not. This is talking about these nations, okay? These nations that have brought great tribulation onto the earth. This is talking about what's going on with these nations that also have shared with the harlot in the blood. Let's get this, okay? Let's go to Revelation 17. I want to make sure I'm going to the right one, because I don't want to confuse anybody. But right here at verse 5, and upon her forehead was the name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. That mystery, Babylon, is that eighth horn that is here on earth right now. That's going to be the world kingdoms, the United States. And there was, and right here, and let's go to verse 9. So I'm trying to make this a little short, because I was going to go into this on the next one, because this video is already pretty long. In verse 9, and this is going to be in chapter 17, And some of you might know this, but here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. Okay, so you got the 7 heads. And this is the vision. Now remember, there's the 7 world powers, and then that beast has that horn, the 8th, that shows up. So, and here's the mind which have wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman, the harlot, sitteth. And there are 7 kings. Now, this is during the vision. This is during Rome. 5 are fallen. Okay, so that would be Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Medes and Persia. Greece, that's 5, have fallen. Then you got Rome, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. All right, so this is talking about the great British Empire, Britain. And it's talking about getting into Anglo-America. And when he cometh, he must continue as a short space, which it did. And the beast, so the beast system that's coming right now, the mark of the beast, that was and is not even, remember, Rome turned into, basically, we're in the new Rome, but in the Bible it's called Mystery Babylon. Even he is the 8th, see? Even he is the 8th. N is of the 7, see? This is an extension of Rome, all right? And goeth into perdition. What does that mean? That this place is going to be destroyed. So, getting back to the National Defense Authorization Act, these things are going to come into place. Everything is just lining up slowly. So I would recommend for everyone to stay prayed up. And as to Israel, as to all of you that are out there that are waking up to the fact of who is who and who's the true Jews and who, you got the salvation, you have the covenants. When you're coming into this, you realize that God has given you, Yahweh, through Yahweh Shai, is giving us the eyes to see and the ears to hear. See, even in the, actually, you know what? I'm going to get that. So give me 1 second. Now, there's people that will scoff. There's people that will not be able to see this. So if you're seeing this, then, you know, this is truly a blessing to be able to see these things. Some people will not see it, but it's okay. Remember, I always bring up the 1/3 and the 2/3. So in John 12:40, these are the people that won't see full scripture and these prophecies. It's going to come as a thief in the night. Verse 40, he hath blinded their eyes and hardened their heart, that they should not see with their eyes, nor understand with their heart, and be converted, and I should heal them. So there will be people that cannot and will not see it, and will not be able to be healed or converted. So I just wanted to share this real quick. Please make sure you share these videos, subscribe, and we're going to keep information coming your way. Once again, all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai.